much to learn in a period of transition. I should know. My entire existence sits on the slide from one type of star to another. These thresholds are where we discover who we are and what we want. They're nebulous places where lessons from the past and expectations for the future combine to make insight in the present. Liminal spaces between what you've left behind and what you hope to find. I've lived my whole immortal life at the intersection of loss and gain. So let me tell you what I've learned, young one. One of my nieces had a planet with its own moons and plenty of life buzzing on its back to keep it busy. My niece shone hotly down on her creation to a point just shy of unbearable for its creatures. During the days they sweltered and languished. They sheltered under cool rock to stave away the heat and suffered through the isolation from their beloved communities. But they were happy to do it because they knew a reprieve would come. Every time it orbited their planet, the largest moon blocked my niece's harsh luster, and the creatures would dance freely outside under the eclipse. For thousands of generations, they planned their society's calendar around their moon's coverage. They farmed, they built infrastructure, and rejoiced in the twilight. Until they noticed the twilight getting brighter. Like her mother's soul before her, my niece had burned through most of her fuel and was transitioning to a new stage. My stage. The creatures saw their star get a little bit bigger every year, while the darkness faded away, and they grieved their loss. Some refused to accept the change because they couldn't see it in their own lifetime. Others grew angry and resentful. Many prayed to their deity to save them from a fiery fate. They had no idea their goddess had abandoned them, or that they now had a new one in me. Eventually, they resigned to the inevitable and embraced the transition. They released the fear they had for their old star and let curiosity guide them forward. They realized my gaze is less scorching than my niece's and delighted in studying my body from their closer vantage point. That impulse to adapt kept them alive for most of the billion years I spent with them. So welcome the phase shift, young one, and the loss. They'll reveal lessons you didn't know you needed. Why is everyone always stressing out so much? We're stars! We're hot and we're brilliant! Altera's the only one who even kind of gets it, but even she gets spiky sometimes. My daughters and I are basically partying on behalf of the universe. Have you ever seen a neutron star? We come in all forms. We can be wild shapes created by magnets in the sky. We could be throwing space raves. But my favorite is when the two of us fall in love. We dance around each other, and we share energies until the tension is felt throughout the galaxy. And when they finally do touch, they create an explosive crash that can be seen from millions of miles. It's so fun! Everyone can agree that shiny things are almost as good as dancing. Oh, speaking of which,
at first, it was me and my three big sisters, Altera, Harp, and Soul. Harp was always pretty dark, but the rest of us were as bright as we could be, till my other two sisters changed. Their immortal essence stayed the same, but I watched the first forms morph and bear new sisters, while I didn't change at all. But see, I am worried. I'm half hydrogen, half helium, and all good looking, whereas my sisters done traded in their gases for heavier elements. But they were blessed with more mass from the start, so it makes sense that they gotta be more greedy. See me? I'm content. I teach all my babies temperance, and I show them how to conserve their fuel and make it last for trillions of years. One of my star babies molded 7 planets in her disk. These planets were very close to each other, but they never collided. 2 of them did cross orbit every 1,000 years or so. One of them had life on it, and during an eclipse, that life spread to the other. Now, every millennia, these civilizations get to rediscover each other. Every eclipse, partial or total, is a celebration of finding family again. And me and my star babies couldn't be prouder.
Baby, we didn't know we were immortal when we were born. For those first 10 million years, all we had was each other. That was before Altera left and gave us Kuro, another sister to love and eventually, as we'd learned, bid farewell. But knowing that, I loved her all the more, and soon it was my turn to leave that first gas cloud where it all began. So I made trillions of daughters, and I loved them all, hoping they would love their planets just as much, my little grandbabies. I cherished my time with them, knowing it was final. But one of my daughters, she built herself a beautiful system of 8 planets, and one of them had a moon. And this wasn't a special moon or a magical moon, but it was just the right size and just the right distance from the planet to eclipse my daughter whenever they crossed paths. At first, life on this planet was terrified, for they had come to love and trust my daughter's reliability. We are very lovable that way. She was their son, but it didn't take long for life on this planet to realize that the moon meant no harm. But the moon wasn't forever. Ever so slowly, the moon drifted away from the planet until it was too small to play their little game of peekaboo. What was once dreaded, meant beloved, was now lost. They mourned for a while, but the creatures on that world, they had short memories.
Once upon a time, there was a star that was happy being perfectly average. She chewed through her hydrogen at a disgustingly mediocre pace, then got really puffy and sighed her pathetic life away until I was the only thing that remained. She left me with nothing but her mess and a sprinkle of bitter ash to dust my crackling surface, and it filled me with an icy rage. Somewhere in a distant cloud, I felt there was another underachieving star leaving behind a core it deemed trash. I traveled to meet my fellow core, and I found her feasting on one of my nieces more than 1,000 times her size. My sister, Altera, was there too, but I didn't want anything to do with a so-called sister who would let me wither in solitude for so long. I found other cores, feeding on all kinds of stars, and met more of my useless sisters before I figured out how to avoid them. Watching my kin wrench something back from the stars that took everything from us made me feel an echo of the warmth I remembered from a past life. She deserved this. We We all deserved this. We had suffered so much, and it was our prerogative to take whatever we wanted. Once, I saw one of the cores eat her fill of her companion until she erupted in the most dazzling light show, brighter than any of my sisters or their precious daughters, and it felt like a reward for taking matters into our own hands after so much pain. But then I saw two cores devour each other until nothing was left, and I knew I had let myself fall prey to something as delusional as hope, and I felt that familiar prick of rage return. I was the first beacon of light in the universe, the first glimmer of hope in a black and shapeless void. It's not easy being the brightest. Only the biggest and strongest can handle the pressure, even for a short while. My daughters may number 1 in a million, but we are as mighty as we are few. We burn hot enough to forge metals in our wombs out of nothing but simple hydrogen. And when our time runs out, we are nothing but happy to give away what we've made. To do so is our privilege and our passion. But it depletes us quickly. So when I travel, I rush from one star to another every few million years, and in each new body I can feel that I've impressed a change upon the universe. Someone has to be for progress. Some of my sisters are all too comfortable with monotony. One thing has stayed constant in my life, though: the jealousy. Not from my sisters, thank the universe, but from their daughters. They covet our light and hover around us like leeches, trying to absorb as much of our warmth as possible. They dance around us and they try to physically eclipse our brilliance, but they're merely twinkling pests. We hold fiercely to the knowledge that the universe made us this bright for a reason, so no penny star could ever dim our light.
Somewhere in the universe, a silent sleuth stalks the colossal space between stars. She is dense and deadly and unashamed of her darkness. She is one of my secret keepers, and she is about to reveal a secret. Thankfully, the universe is vast and provides many corners for me to stow my secrets, my many darling secrets. 100 million secrets gleaned from Altera's daughters when they crumpled under the crushing weight of her expectations. Oops, did I say that part out loud? I've been gathering them for eons, and sometimes it doesn't even feel like I have to try. Most beings in the universe, including my sisters, rely too much on light to know things, and therefore can't tell I'm approaching until it's too late to do anything about it. So I spy, and I warp perceptions, and I take objects apart to see how they work without any intention of putting them back together. Why? Because in a universe where light seems to be the most valuable currency, knowledge is my greatest weapon.